Morning, everybody. Good morning, Chosen. Good morning, Nick. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
And good morning, Sophia.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. All right. So as these Saturday trainings are put together, I kind of have a little bit of structure on how we'll do it. But this is also put together for you guys to ask whatever questions that you guys want, or maybe we can slow things down, walk through some things, those kind of things. I'm on for as long as you guys need me to be. My interview is not until I don't have anything until 10 o'clock. So you guys can have me that whole time. If it's 30 minutes, great. If it's 45, great. If it's an hour and a half, I'm at you guys' discretion. So from that standpoint, what I was looking at today was the grids, because I'm still getting a lot of questions on that. If you guys have that down, we don't have to do that. I'm not going to, train or try to help you guys out with stuff that you completely understand. But there are no stupid questions here. If I don't have the answer, I will do everything I can to get the answer to you. So I figured we'd cover the grids. The Aetna application, I know that's one that we don't talk about that often. I think most of the applications we work with are pretty simple. But the Aetna application, I figured we'd go over today. I had a couple of questions the last few days about AIG, which I think is a very simple application, but we want to make sure that people understand it as well. That's why we do this. And I figured from there, anything else that you guys wanted to swing into, we could get there. So is there some place, and if you guys would like to switch, does everybody understand compensation? Understand how your comp works and the 75% and the 9-month advance and how AIG's comp works a little bit different? Everybody understand that? Any questions
Yes.
there? Okay. Anybody?
Good.
Just tossing some stuff out there. Okay. And then what about the grids? Is that something you guys want to cover a little bit? Everybody good with that?
Yes, I'm up for learning about it.
Okay. Okay, perfect. I saw you there, Chosen, AIG. And then, so what I'll do, Nick, I'm going to go ahead. I'll cover the grids really quickly. You guys ask whatever questions you like. We'll go from there. You guys should be able to see my screen here in just a second. Can I get a confirmation? You guys see my screen?
Yes.
Super. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it. So the grids, guys, is pretty simple. The best way that I can explain to you guys the grids is I'm going to do two different things at once here. I'm going to go backwards. Best way I can explain the grids is go with the biggest illness first. And I'll give you a quick example of that. If you're sitting and you're talking to someone and they mention they have HIV, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and arthritis. For the crowd here, which you guys think is he or she's biggest illness out of the ones I just threw out there?
HIV.
That's exactly correct. So that's the one you're going to want to start with. And if you think of things that way, just from a common sense perspective, all of us have heard of somebody having heart attack, cancers, strokes, mini strokes, maybe not so much the HIV or AIDS thing, but if you put the biggest illness first, it's going to help you with underwriting. It's going to help you start to be more proficient quicker. And then once you add the grid into that, it just makes it that much faster as well. So here's what I mean by that. I'm going to specifically go to, and we'll cover this site here in a second. I'm going to specifically go to the term grid. And if I'm moving too fast, guys, let me know. So I'm going to throw some questions out there to keep you guys, so I don't put you guys to sleep just talking as well. So if you're sitting with the client, you've gone through all the stuff, you've done the inventory sheet, and as you're going through it, he or she tells you they have HIV, or excuse me, they have ARC. Does anybody know what ARC means?
No.
I don't know. No, what is
Perfect.
that?
You guys will learn something today. AIDS-related complex. So not to give you guys a nursing or a history lesson on medications or medical conditions, but AIDS-related complex, there's medications out there now that are so good that when people take them long enough and they get in their system, when their blood is drawn and they're checked for HIV, it's so low, it's almost not even detectable. So they could have conditions or things that are related to or HIV or AIDS has caused. So it's AIDS related complex. It's not necessarily the condition. Did that confuse anyone? And does that make sense? Yeah. So, and the reason I'm using this one, first of all, it's the first one on the list to keep things simple. But second of all, I'm going to ask you guys this question too, because I ran this by somebody today because this actually happened, or earlier this week, because this actually happened. Now, if you look at the grid and you're talking to somebody, and again, they say they have HIV, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and rheumatoid arthritis, we already determined, and thank you, Jeff, that the biggest medical condition they have is the HIV. So if you come out here and they had HIV, they were diagnosed 15 years ago, are they eligible for any coverage? And there's no stupid questions here, guys, or answers, by the way. Is he or she eligible for coverage?
I think yes, because it's got to be 10 years, it seems like.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So if you guys were confused by that, and again, there's no stupid answers or questions here. Thank you for whoever stepped up and said that. Diagnosed within 10 years. So if it is 10 years or more than 10 years, that question doesn't apply anymore. Does that confuse anyone?
So
Perfect.
anytime over 10 years, then a person who has HIV would be okay with America?
HIV, AIDS, or AIDS-related complex would be able to get America, because it's just like, yeah, exactly. And that's why I wanted to go over this. But this pertains to pretty much anything. And I think this trips people up sometimes. I think this trips people up. Hold on one second, guys. This trips people up sometimes because if you look at the one right underneath that, alcohol, drug abuse, or treatment within 10 years decline, check meds and that kind of stuff. Sometimes people will be put on medication to help bring them down from the alcohol high, right? But if you look at the next one, MU, AMAM, or American Amicable, which is one and the same, John Hancock or Forrester's, treated within the last 10 years, and they spelled that all wrong. They spelled treatment and last wrong, but somebody was having a good day that morning. But treated within the last 10 years. So if it's been 11 years, that doesn't apply. Within the last 4 years with AMAM, they're declined. But if it's 4 years and a day, then they're accepted. Any history with John Hancock, so if they've had any history with alcohol or drug abuse or been in a treatment center, they do not qualify for John Hancock. Forrester's within 5 years. So if it's 5 years and a day, they're accepted. Does that make sense for everyone? Because sometimes these things, I think I think sometimes people get confused by the verbiage. So this should be your first line of defense, is the term or the whole life grid, which we'll cover here in just a second. So let me give you another scenario, just a quick scenario to wake you guys up a little bit this morning. You're talking to someone and you find out that they had cancer 10 years ago, or yeah, they had cancer 5 years ago. They have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and they high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and they had cancer. Let's say they had pancreatic cancer 5 years ago. Okay. And we're looking at term. So I'm going to come on here. Paul, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your text just came through again. That's what I thought that was weird. It just
Okay. I don't know why it's sent.
Yeah. It's okay. I just want to make sure you're on. I thought maybe you got kicked out. Okay. So we've got, what did we say? Cancer, right? So we're going to find cancer on here. And the reason I say that is because you will run across this a lot. So, and also I want to throw this pro tip at you guys. The term grid and the whole life grid those products do underwrite differently. Certain things for term will underwrite completely different on the whole life programs. And I'll show you an example, especially something like cancer here in just a few minutes. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top of the page so you guys can at least see the carriers. With Americo for term, it says if they've ever had cancer, they're declined. If you go to MU, you got all these different types of cancer there, excluding basal cell. I always screw that word up, so I'm not even going to try to say it. Skin cancer, cell skin cancer, they're okay, which is just basically a basic skin cancer. They go in and scoop it out, test it, do a biopsy, and find out that it was maybe mild or nothing, or otherwise decline. But if we go to AMAM, AMAM will say on that second line, 8 years since diagnosed or treated with no occurrence, it's okay. So can anybody tell me what that, no, there's no stupid answer, bad answer, or anything like that at all. Can you tell me what that would mean for AMAM? 8 years since diagnosed or treatment with no occurrence?
Yeah, so if they, if 8 years and a day ago, they were declared cancer-free and they haven't had any reoccurrences or they haven't been treated since, then they would be good with AMAM.
That's exactly right. And guys, this seems like just such a minor thing, but this could be huge for somebody that's trying to get life protection and they're a younger person and they had cancer and it's been 8 years and a day, as Jeff mentioned. So this sounds like minor stuff that you're going to skip, or you're going to hear cancer and you're going to, oh man. But if you're not taking the time to go through these grids quickly, and the more you go through these, the quicker you'll get at it. Just like the reason why I brought up the AIDS related complex. You guys just saw it a few minutes ago. You know, everybody's a decline except for America, right? If it's been more than how many years?
I think it was 10, wasn't it?
That's exactly right, Nick. That's exactly right. So I guarantee you, now that we've talked about this and said it, I guarantee you sometime in the next couple of weeks, you guys are going to run across that because that's just what happens.
Well,
So go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I'm running into it on Tuesday. I got an appointment with Tuesday for a gentleman like this, so that's perfect.
Yep, good. That's why we do this. So let's use Forrester's as an example. Basal cell is okay. No treatment or reoccurrence within the last 10 years. So Jeff's answer was a perfect one. American Amicable says 8 years and a day, right? Forrester says 10 years. No treatment or reoccurred within 10 years. So, you know, sometimes you just have to take some time, look at these grids really quickly and go from there, or call the 800 line or your business partner, whatever the case is. So the reason I'm pointing these grids out, because this will help you in the home. It'll help you become more efficient in the home. It'll help you get in and out. And I don't mean this to be a negative thing, in and out quicker. And instead of having to pick up the phone and call your upline, this is a way for you to be able to, you know, access the answer even faster. Because certain parts of the country, you will get into certain conditions more than others. California has its set of medical conditions just because of what they deal with out there, right? Same thing here in the Midwest, same thing on the East Coast, same thing in the South. You see certain more medical conditions. I'm going to give you guys, as we're trending through this, I'm going to go to page 9 on this grid here in just a moment. For those of you guys that, because I had somebody tell me earlier this week, they'd never heard of the Velocity in-home helpline. As much as you think you talk about things, I guess we don't talk about them enough. But the Velocity in-home helpline was put in place to help as many people as they can. The people that are answering the phones on the helpline are doing $20K or more per month. And there's usually 20 or more agents on there. So they're actually agents out in the field. Your first line of defense should be your direct upline or I'm going to start calling them business partners. I don't like upline at all. Sounds like an MLM, but should be your business partner. And your first 10 or 15 sits, for those of you guys that haven't sold a lot, you should be calling directly to that person kind of take your pride and put it on the shelf for a second. You should be calling them every single time you're in the home, your first 10 or 15 sales, just to give yourself some credibility, to make sure you're positioning them with the right company, okay? The next little pro tip that I'll give you guys before I give you guys the Velocity number. So if you don't have it, I'm going to give that number to you and 2 other numbers here in just a moment. I'll mention this here too. Again, when you're in the home, make sure you're structured, make sure you've asked all the questions, you have their age, you have their medications, you know their medical conditions, and you figured out, you know, what coverage they want. Because I get phone calls sometimes, and this isn't bad, it's just a coaching tip, but I get phone calls sometimes from people and they'll say, I'll answer the phone and they'll say, hey, I'm sitting here with Susie and she's looking for $50,000 worth of coverage. Well, I don't know if Susie qualifies for that. Did you ask those questions? How old is she? Does she have anything in place now? Does she have any medical conditions? It's extremely vague. So make sure that you're doing the in-home inventory form, which I'll show you guys where this at on our site as well. So here's your first line of defense. When you go and you sit down in a home and you've answered all the questions and you still need help, it's going to be your business partner. Your second phone call will be the Velocity in-home helpline. That phone number is 800-304-6235. Again, 800-304-6235. If you then, for some strange reason, can't get a hold of anybody on the Velocity in-home helpline, your next line of defense is Todd Hausberger. I will spell his last name for you. Todd Hausberger, Hausberger, as in girl, and ER, Todd Hausberger. Todd's number 602-692-3903, 602-692-3903. If for some reason you don't get Todd, the last line of defense you have, and then you can kind of rinse and repeat, would be Chris Schiavo. I will spell his last name also. Chris Schiavo. Schiavo is S-C-H-I-A-V-O. Again, S-C-H-I-A-V-O. Chris's number, 979-204-0995. 979-204-0995. So again, your business partner first. You can't get a hold of your business partner, call the Velocity in-home helpline. If for some really strange or weird reason you can't get a hold of anybody there, you can call Todd Hausberger. And what I urge you guys to do, I know we talked about this at the next level training. Please you can send Todd a message today, say, hey, I'm a part of Genesis. And if you call and his number's in he'll save your number in his phone. If you call him, he'll know that you've either tried to call your business partner, you've gone through the Velocity line, and he knows he's probably at that point, probably 21st or 22nd person you tried to get a hold of. So he'll answer. If not, Chris Schiavo is the same thing. So does anybody have any questions about that, the process or anything like that at all? And these guys do not mind you calling. They don't.
I got a quick one, and maybe I'm just diving this in too far, but when you're in front of a customer and you're calling Todd or even the helpline or something, is there a little, I feel like maybe in this, maybe it's just me, there's the awkwardness of you trying to tell somebody what this person has and going over it. Is there more of a delicate way of going through that at all?
I will tell you two things. This is just my opinion. First of all, Nick, great question. That is a great question, because I know people do feel that. You feel like, man, I'm just putting this person's personal health information out there, right?
Yeah.
Here's the deal. They're not in front of you. And what I mean by that is the person that you're calling to help. And if you position it properly with the person, hey, I'm going to call a senior underwriter just to make sure I'm placing you with the right company, it's not a big deal. I've never seen a big deal. It's as big a deal as you sitting down with somebody and having a conversation with them about it's $330 a month or it's $460 a month. If you're uncomfortable doing that and you're uncomfortable doing it, first of all, you're probably not going to do it. That's the first thing, because you're uncomfortable with it. The second thing is you're never going to ask for premiums that big, because you're going to be like, well, I don't know if that fits in my budget. So you start selling out of your own wallet, which is not the right thing to do. Okay.
True.
Does that help you?
Yeah, that makes total sense. In fact, that's actually more of a compliment way of saying, I just want to make sure that the senior underwriter I'm making sure that that we're putting you at the right product.
Yep. That's
Smart.
It. That's how I would handle that. Yeah. So again, guys, just go with the biggest illness first. I don't want to put you guys to sleep or bore you with this, but it's pretty important, because this will make you so much more efficient in the home, and it'll get to the point where you start seeing the same illnesses. Case in point, diabetes. Here in the Midwest, we just see a lot of it. And this is huge. So if you look at the grid that we're on right now, this again is the term grid. This is America. So diagnosed within the last 6 months. So I'm gonna give you guys a scenario here, just a second, wake your brains up here. So diagnosed within the last 6 months, decline. I'm on America. Diagnosed before age 35, decline. Prescribed insulin, decline. Taking more than 2 oral medications, decline. So let me give this scenario to you. This person was diagnosed a year ago. They're 36 years old, and they're taking 1 oral medication. Would they get accepted if that's their only health condition? Would they get accepted with America?
Yes, they're good.
Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Perfect. And you can see why, if you picked up the phone, called, let's say Nick calls me, he calls me, and for some reason I don't answer. Then he calls the in-home helpline, and for some reason they don't answer. And then he has to call Todd. Todd finally answers, but it's taken 5 or 10 minutes or whatever to go through that, as opposed to just coming out here. You have all the information in front of you from the inventory sheet and being able to look and say, okay, based on that scenario, the person got diagnosed a year ago. They're 36 years old and they're only taking one medication. They're taking metformin. That person is going to be just fine with the Miracle. Now, same thing, Mutual of Omaha, which is the one right to the right of it, MU. For those of you guys don't know what that means, Mutual of Omaha, MU is one and the same. Diagnosed before age 50, decline. Any complications, decline. So that same scenario I just gave you, that person would be eligible with MU as well. So let's go to MM very quickly. Controlled with oral medications is okay. Diagnosed prior to 35, decline. Diabetic and tobacco use, decline. You don't see that very often. Insulin, decline. Combined with overweight, gout, retinopathy, or protein in urine, decline. So they go much deeper than either Americo or Mutual of Omaha. But there's still some benefits there. Maybe the premium is better, whatever the case is. So I digress. I'm not going to cover all these. I think you guys get it, understand what we're coming from with this. There's different age requirements and different things like that. And when I show you guys the whole life grid here in just a moment, you'll see same medical condition, but based on the product, underwritten much differently. Now, just from a pseudo common sense perspective, why do you think they would underwrite the whole life differently than the term?
Lesser amount, correct?
That's exactly right. You nailed it. That's exactly right. Most of the carriers they'll stop at 30,000. And if they have any type of complications and things like that, they might go 10, 15, maybe 20, 25 if they're lucky. So very good, Nick. Very, very good. Yep. I've seen the felony question. I've seen that twice, got that one twice this week. Again, if they would have just gone out to the grid, they would have answered their own question within a couple of minutes. So we just want to make you guys as proficient as you can so you can help more people. And, one thing you can't get back is your time. All right. Now I'm going to keep scrolling down the page here. I'm going to go to page 9. Now, as a pro tip, page 9 on the term and the whole life grid, page 9 on both of these starts to break the product down. So I got a Slack yesterday from somebody that said, hey, I have a guy that's 5'11". He's 5'11". Now, hear what I tell you guys, just to show you how lazy some people are. The guy's 5'11" and he's 310 pounds. So this is right in front of you. Can anyone tell me where you would go to find that?
Too small to read.
Oh, my bad, Paul. But you know where I was going with this.
Oh, yeah.
So if he's 5'11", or she is 5'11", 310 pounds, the only thing they would qualify for is the HMS plus accidental plan. Okay. So it's funny because I told the person, I think they just wanted me to tell them the answer. I told them where to find the answer, but they didn't go out here. What they did was they went to the in-home helpline on Slack and asked the question. So they're making it more difficult on themselves. And you know what the person said? Did you check the grid? And did you check with your upline? Those are the first 2 things that the people asked them the question back. So it's okay to do that. But if you start taking the time to learn these things and finding out where your resources are, it's going to make you more proficient is what I'm saying. And this person, that's fine. They did that. You can ask whatever you want. But if they would just come out here, and which I actually screenshotted this and send it to them and pointed it out, that person doesn't qualify for anything except for the accidental. And my personal opinion, the accidental plan, in my personal opinion, is better with Mutual of Omaha than the accidental plan, which we'll get into that at another time, than Americo. Any questions there? All right, I just wanted to pull that up or bring that up because it just happened yesterday. So page 9.
Question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Joseph.
You're saying they'll only qualify for, let me see, it says HMS plus with ABD.
Let me bring this up here really quickly. Can you see that? Is that big enough?
Yeah, so you said
Your kids are fine.
5'11".
Don't worry about it.
Okay,
Don't
cool.
shush them. So this person was this person was 5'11", 310.
So 310 is all the way at the end then, right? So HMS plus with ABD, I don't know what ABD is, or ADB.
Accidental death benefit.
Okay. So, but the HMS is a product, right? It's not just, because I thought you just said they'll only qualify for the accidental.
I think that's what Corey meant. I mean, when somebody's that heavy, HMS plus weight with ADB is accidental. That's kind of what HMS I think it is.
Okay, maybe I'm not understanding what HMS is.
I think we might have lost Corey for a second.
Okay.
But the ADB is accidental death benefit.
Okay, yeah. So, but it's saying that they'll get HMS with, they could get it with accidental death benefit.
Yeah.
Because isn't HMS a type of coverage, right? A type of term?
Yes, it is. But I think it
Okay.
actually comes with ADB automatically. I don't think it's an option.
Okay.
I think it's something that comes with it. Yeah.
I thought he was saying they only qualify for accidental death. Like that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to make sure that that's not what he was saying. But okay.
Yeah. Well, if somebody's 310 pounds at 5'11", off of this chart, they're not going to be able to get the other ones. The DI rider, they'll be able to get just the HMS with ADB. So
You guys hear
What
me
is
now?
DI rider?
yeah, we hear you.
Okay. I don't know what happened, guys. My screen does that from time to time. So chosen. I sound like somebody was trying to chime in there. That person doesn't fit that 5'11", 310-pound person. The reason why that one made sense for that particular agent is because the weight went up to 340 pounds. But Mutual of Omaha has an accidental plan that I believe is, I don't want to say it's better. It's just the underwriting is different because it's guaranteed issue. You don't have all the weight requirements. You don't have all that other stuff. It's just simply they go on, they apply for the coverage, it's guaranteed issue. And not only, let me share my screen again since my iPad is wanting to cooperate. I don't want to confuse you guys with this, but at the same time, here's Americo's accidental death plan. So what that means is they have to die in an accident for this to pay off. Does everybody understand that?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be rudimentary. I just want to make.
So sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm kind of fresh.
Sure.
HMS, right? That's not a type of term. I thought it's like that is a type of term, and then it's with accidental death benefit. Or is it just no? This is just only an accidental death benefit.
Straight accident.
Is it two or just one?
Nope, it's straight accident.
So then what does HMS stand for? Like, what's the purpose of HMS plus with?
So let me explain this one to you, and this will clear a lot of this up. HMS stands for Home Mortgage Series. Okay. You do not have to have a mortgage to write any of these products. Now, I'm really going to mess you up. They don't even call HMS anymore. It's called term. So if you were to go out to quote.americo.com, which I'm going to pull this up really quick so you can actually see it. And we're just going to say, we'll just do the CBO 100. Okay. And we'll go. I guess the age doesn't matter. I'm not gonna. It'll take too long to try to open up the application.
Yeah, I understand.
But it's called.
I understand
It's just called like term. Hold on one second. This might help. Okay, here's on the screen. See the bottom options? Term 100.
Yeah, term 100, term 120.
Exactly. So it's the same chassis. It's the same stuff. They just changed the name.
Okay, now sorry. Look, you see the first one says ADB.
That's the
correct?
accidental one we're talking about. It is just
okay.
accidental.
So
Yep.
okay, it was just weird because it said with
Absolutely.
because I understand if it's terms, okay, and then you could add an accidental death benefit or to it, or maybe sometimes it comes with it. So if somebody dies by accident, it pays double, right, or triple,
Well,
whatever.
you could add a rider. you could add a rider to some of the policies that would cover the, if they died in an accident, it would double the benefit.
Yeah,
So
but,
I'm going to make
what you're
this
saying
very,
with this heavy guy is that he could only die by accident to get a benefit, correct?
let's say that a little differently. He would not qualify for the standard term policies that Americo has because of his weight. So because of that, the only thing that he would qualify for would be the accidental. So as a pro tip for you, so you don't have to drive yourself nuts, Mutual of Omaha has a much better, easier, simpler underwriting because it's guaranteed issue. And the application, I think there's only like 2 or 3 questions that it asks. So if you run into someone that needs accident and accident only coverage, that's the only thing you're going to qualify for. I highly recommend you use Mutual of Omaha. Keep it simple for you and the client. Did I make that more confusing, or does that make sense?
No, that's cool. And that'll be a 2-year wait, correct? With the guarantee issue.
No. Nope.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No,
Cool.
there's no 2-year wait. So let me do it. Let me do it this way. Let me go to FFL-Go. I'm going to click. If I'm going too fast, guys, let me know. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, FFL-Go. I'm going to go Mutual of Omaha. I'm going to go view quotes. I'm going to go to guaranteed advantage. So I'm going to try to make this super simple and not be too wordy like I always am. Guaranteed advantage and the HMS plus ADB, which stands for accidental death benefit, is the same thing. Don't overthink it. It is literally the exact same thing. So if I went back and showed you the grid, right? If I went back and showed you the grid for here, this says 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 accidental death benefit, right? But check this out. If I come back and go here, and this is what I was talking about, Chosen, this benefit goes up to $500,000. So you're going to be able to get more coverage. And in some instances, it even has a return of premium. So I have one of these. I have a $250,000 accidental death benefit. I'm 46 years old, and it cost me next to nothing. So I'm going to go, just for giggles, so you guys see what I'm talking about here. I'm going to go Missouri. I'm going to go 40. Let's just go 45. Male, individual, and it gives you the options of what you can do: individual spouse, individual children, or family, right? And I'm going to put in $500,000. Now, because of my age, it's going to also allow me to do the return of premium as well. So we got it set on monthly premium payment mode. I'm going to put in return of premium. And if you put in a return of premium and the scale is off based on the age, it'll tell you, because you can, I think the return of premium stops after age 50. So I'm going to hit calculate. So for $500,000 of coverage for a 45-year-old male, it's $88.82 a month. But in order for this to pay out, this person has to pass away in an accident, right? But keep in mind, it did return of premium. So when we did a return of premium, I could show you the math on it. Basically, I'm taking that $1,000, $1,015, $1,000, so, and multiplying it by 30 years, or I think it's 25 years, and that's a premium that I'll get back at the end of that term. That works different than the one from Americo. So if you ever run into a scenario and you need an accidental plan just to get somebody covered, Mutual of Omaha is the one that you're going to want, because it's easier, it's simpler, it's more cost effective, and you get more coverage. Does that help anyone?
Yes, definitely.
Makes sense.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. I just want to make sure I'm not confusing anybody. Again, page 9, and guys, ask away. If there's something you're confused about, if I can help, please ask. That's what this is for. So the grid here, again, this is going to give you most of the carriers you're going to use on a more consistent basis. You can see all of their programs here. And again, I'm going to take just a half step back, just because of the question that Chosen asked. HMS, it doesn't mean anything anymore. HMS is, let me go back. Right down here where it says term 100 and term 125, payment protector, continuation, all those are written, they were written on the quote unquote home mortgage series, even though you do not have to have a mortgage to get any of these products. It means the same thing. Term is now, HMS is now term. It's just what they called it. Hopefully that doesn't confuse anyone. We now have, hopefully you guys saw this. If you didn't, right. Where'd it go? Here it is. So with Americo, if you write the payment protector or the payment protector continuation, you could write those up to 450,000. Okay, that's huge with no saliva test. 450K with no saliva test. Again, we post this out on Slack. You guys can take time to read it, but it's very simple once you go through it. This website, when it works properly, is pretty good. It breaks down all the Americo products, allows you to dig into all of the, what is living benefits and all those kind of things in the program. So AmericoHomeMortgageSeries.com. It's a pretty simple site as well. Any questions there? Just want to go over that since it came up. We're talking about it. Okay, so Mutual of Omaha, you can see their requirements here. Just read through this. It's not complicated at all. AMAM, their coverage types, how much premium, or excuse me, how much you can benefit, what level you can write, what simplified issue, their height and weight charts, all that. Okay, so now let's transition.
Hey,
So
Corey.
Yes, fire away.
Nice.
Paul.
A quick question along on the Americo side. So that bump up to the 450 max with no saliva test is just for payment protector and payment protector continuation. The CBO 100, CBO 50, and the term are still up to 400,000 with saliva over 250.
That is, you nailed it. You crushed it. So great.
I'll
Glad you brought that up, Paul. So here it is right here on the screen. If you write 250,000, let's just call it 251,000, they're going to have to do a saliva test. Okay. For you to be able to do that, you have to do the saliva test certification. It's super, super easy. I'm going to show you guys where to find the information for that. It is simply FFL-go, right? I'm going to click on Americo. I'm going to scroll down the page and I'm going to go contacts. And you can see third one from the bottom, Americo mouth swab. There's the 800 number. And then there's the website. So you go on the website, you complete the saliva test information, you call the 800 number, and I think you can order up to 5 or 10 at a time. They'll actually mail the mouth swabs out to you. The only thing the certification is doing is just making sure you understand how to apply the test. It's the mouth swab. Literally, they're going to swab it in your mouth for a minute or two, take it out. You're going to put the stick in a bag, break it off, seal it, date it, write their name on it, your agent code, all that kind of stuff, and send it in. That's all it is. It's just teaching you the certification. Now, back to Paul's question, which was a very good one. Right there towards the upper center of the page, simplified issue from 25,000 to 400,000. Simplified issue just means that they don't have to have what's called APS, which means they don't have to have a nurse come out, do blood weight, Paul, which you're probably used to, somebody urine, height, weight, blood pressure, all that kind of stuff. We don't do that. They're simply going to go off of the information. They're going to pull from their MIB as long as it's 250,000 or under. 250,000 and $1 up to 400,000. They're going to require a saliva test. As Paul also just asked, and we were just talking about, the payment protector and the payment protector continuation goes up to 450 now with no saliva and no APS. Does that help?
Hey, Corey, a follow-up question.
Yes, sir.
So when we're sitting down with someone, I mean, Americo has, the 2 CBO programs, the 2 term programs, and then these 2 payment protector and continuation. How are we positioning what's the best fit for these clients? Because that's a lot of different choices there.
Right. So I'll give you 3 tips that will really help you. First of all, Paul, fantastic question. The first thing is, if they're under the age of 60, CBO is a great place to start. Okay. Under the age of 60, CBO is a great place to start.
Okay.
If you're talking term and they're talking about, usually you're talking 100,000, 200, 300,000, those kinds of things, right? And most of the time, even if somebody needs more than that, a lot of times you're going to tell them the simplified issue up to 250, blah, blah, blah. So that's the first thing. The second thing that America was great for is they get non-smoker rates for 3 years, even if they're a smoker. That's huge. So if I have somebody that smokes and, hey, I'll let them know up front, hey, you're going to get a really good rate. And I'll show them the difference between a smoker rate and non-smoker rate. And they got 3 years to quit, because most people that are smoking will tell you they're going to quit. Okay. Those are the first two things that I would tell you about America. Even prior to that, Paul, is when you're asking all their health questions and everything else, you're going to start to hear about the next. I know it probably seems insurmountable, but hearing about the next week or two, you're going to get to the point where you're going to start to figure out very quickly, because you're going to run into a lot of the same health conditions just based on where we're located in the country. Okay. So once you go through and ask all the health questions and everything else, and you figure out, if you do the LIFE acronym or you're having a conversation with them and figure out how much coverage they need, just pick up the phone and call Christy, call myself, call Tim, whatever the case is, and we'll help you with that until you can figure that out. But the simplest way, and here's number 3, as I was mentioning, once you figured out how much coverage they need, and you guys discussed that, and they're going to do term, just come out here to the grid. It's right here in front of you. Now, I don't mean to be funny, but I mean, literally, it's right in front of you. So I don't know if that helps you or not, but yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're very, very welcome. So the big thing, guys, is if they smoke, I always go Americo first. If they smoke, because nobody's going to touch the rate, because it's a non-smoker rate. Some companies, I think, are as high as 30, 40% sometimes difference in smoker rate and non-smoker rate. So just think about that.
And hey, Corey,
yes, sir.
That non-smoker rate, that's good for all the Americo term products.
That's
all
correct.
6 of these that we're talking about.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So just to clarify that, if somebody is a smoker, the first 3 years they get the non-smoker rate, and then
That's right.
basically after that, does it go up then?
It will. What
Okay.
will happen essentially, and I'm sure what they do, guys, I have a hard time thinking that they're going to run and chase all those people down. That's just my opinion. But here's the deal. What will probably happen in most cases, they'll send them a letter. Hey, you're getting ready to be in the 3rd year of your plan. You were privileged because you worked with us and partnered with Americo, that you had, the non-smoker rates. We're going to send you out a saliva test. You have to do XYZ by this time. They'll walk them through the process or reach out to your agent. This has to be in by a certain date, so they have time to check it. If nicotine still shows up in their system, their rate will go from whatever it is to a smoker rate. So they'll have plenty of time to take the saliva test, all that kinds of stuff. That help? So I'm going to pull this up just because this makes sense. I know we talk about Americo a lot, but I think it's important. If any of you guys want this, this is actually on that Americo Home Mortgage Series website. But I think it's pretty important to make sure you guys understand this as well. The living benefits, this is also huge. I mean, this is huge. And I hear some of our big time agents, I hear a lot of them say, oh, I don't like Americo because of XYZ and that kind of stuff. Help your client with whatever you see necessary. I'm not a big fan of Transamerica, and that's okay. Some of you guys are, and that's okay. Living benefits is huge, and it's automatically included with the HMS series, or let's call it term, because that's what they call it now. But it's automatically included in these programs. So in short, the critical, if they have heart attack, cancer, stroke, anything that's major internal, they're going to have up to 100% access of their benefit that they can take out. Now, to simplify this, how you would explain this to somebody is you can take up to 100% of your benefit. Let's say you had $100,000, you took 50, you'd have 50 left over when you passed away that could go to your family. What can they use that money for? Whatever they want, just like the death benefit. The chronic is if they can't do what's called activities of daily living, okay? If they can't do at least two, so that's eating, bathing, toileting, transferring themselves from one place to the other. If they can't do at least 2 of those, then they can apply for the chronic, the benefit as well. Okay. And then the last is terminal. So if they have less, the doctor gives them, obviously with documentation, 12 months or less to live, they can access the living benefit riders. So the living benefit rider gives them an option to take out a portion of the death benefit, you know, and then also still have a death benefit left over to pay for final expenses, etc. So this is huge. If you guys want this, just send me a Slack message with your email, and I'm happy to email this out to you so you have it. Anytime I talk to somebody about the AmeriCorps products, I always talk to them about the living benefits because it is something that's different out there. And I think a lot of people just speed through it. Hopefully that helps.
I think, yeah, you don't want to speed through that. That's a great benefit. Why would you
A
want to
lot of
speed
people
through that?
don't even explain it.
Yeah,
A lot of
that's like
agents forget about it.
that's like that. That's like telling somebody that a banana split doesn't come with all the extra fixing. You got to sell it, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, guys, just want to show you guys where your resources are, but also where you can actually see them real time so you know where to find them. And the more you use this stuff, guys, it's just like anything else, right? The more you shoot a basketball, the better you get at it, right? So again, all the carriers are here that you're going to use primarily. You've got, you know, your business, direct business partner. You should be calling those first. Kind of take your pride, put it on the shelf. Yes, you're going to need some help getting through this stuff, but the more you do it, the quicker it gets. I'm pushing 11 months here, guys, and how I learned this stuff, honestly, it wasn't Todd or Eric or any of those guys, you know, helping us out from that standpoint. It was just taking the time to go through this stuff and trying to look at it from a perspective, because I am still an agent, obviously, but taking the time of what would make this simpler, easier for me if I were a new agent or if I was somebody that had experience and that was coming here and trying to put everything in one place as best we possibly could. So here's the grids. Take the time to go out there and check those out. So now I'm going to shift from term to the whole life grid. Okay, they're right here, or final expense, I should say. So we're using the correct terminology. So I'm going to click on the final expense. And as you guys can see, it looks exactly the same. Now, remember a few minutes ago when, well, probably 30 minutes ago when we were talking about AmeriCorps taking a person that's looking for term for AIDS, HIV, or ARC. Well, now if you look across here, remember we talked about, and Nick, you nailed it, final expense and term is underwritten differently because of how much premium, or excuse me, how much benefit their family would get when they pass. And we're also going to go over cancer as well. It's also underwritten differently. So you can see with now AmeriCorps is straight up saying declined, where before they were saying 10 years and a day. You were accepted. They don't even ask the question. So the only chance this person would have would be AMAM, also known as American Amicable, or you would have to pivot to a AIG or Great Western. Does that confuse anyone? Perfect. So let's scroll down the page here really quickly, because I know you guys are getting this, or you understand it anyway. So we're going to go to the cancer now, but you can see it looks slightly different than what it did for the term, because now you've got less than, you've got more than, did it reoccur? You know, if it's been within the last couple of years. So let's look at cancer just with, let's go AmeriCorps, because it's going to be simpler. If the cancer metastasized or reoccurred, decline within the last 2 years. So I'm going to ask a real stupid question here. If their cancer has not metastasized or reoccurred in 2 years and a day, can they get the Eagle Premier with AmeriCorps? If their cancer did not metastasize or reoccur in 2 years and a day, are they eligible for AmeriCorps?
Yes.
That's exactly right. All right, you guys were starting to scare me for a second.
The quietness.
It got real
like,
quiet,
oh
real
man,
quick.
you guys.
I'm like, I didn't think
Oh
that
God, I
one would
lost
stop
these
anybody.
guys.
Yeah,
They're still hungover. They're still hungover from last night.
So I just want, and that's the reason why we do this, because again, this will start. I relate a lot of things to sports, unfortunately, I guess, to an extent, but it's like, you know, watching a curveball. If you guys watch any sports at all, watching a curveball come at you, the first couple times, a really good curveball will scare the heck out of you because it looks like it's going to hit you. and then it falls off and it's a strike and you're standing there looking crazy, right? It's the same thing. The more you do this and the more you look at these things, because we talked about ARC, now you guys know what AIDS related complex is. So if somebody says that, you're not giving them Google eyes, well, what the hell is that? It's just, it's a complex. It's something that happens because they have HIV or AIDS. That's all it means. Or they might not have full-blown HIV or AIDS, but they have situations because of it. But same thing here. I just froze you guys by saying if their cancer did not metastasize or hasn't reoccurred in 2 years and a day, they're eligible for the Eagle Premier, barring they don't have any other major medical conditions going on, because we start with the biggest medical condition first. Now, I know for a fact people screw this up. I got a call last week about this one. Guaranteed issue. If your person gets declined for Eagle Premier, they can still qualify for the guaranteed issue. I'm going to say that again. You apply for Eagle Premier with a senior and they get declined. You can still apply for guaranteed issue. Okay. Now, let's go back. Let me go to page 9. I'll show you guys this here as well. Couple things on Americo for their Eagle, because you'll write a lot of these. You'll write a lot. This is Americo. For their Eagle Premier, it starts at age 50 and goes 50 to 85 if they're a non-smoker. 50 to 80 if they are a smoker. Again, simplified issue. You can see it right there on the screen there. Quit smoking advantage. Smoker qualifies for non-smoker rates, which we talked about earlier. Again, this plan only goes up to 30,000, as Nick mentioned earlier. Smaller amounts. Here's the deal though with the guarantee. And I will tell you guys really quickly, hopefully I don't confuse anybody. I've only written one of these because a lot of times the rate is so high, I end up going Great Western or AIG, because this is a graded benefit. I'm going to cover this super quick because it's an easy product to cover. So they get, let's say they had cancer. It was a 6 months or 2 months or 2 years ago. Sorry. Under 2 years ago, they had cancer. Apologize, guys. And they get declined for Eagle Premier, and they're under the age of 80. You can go on, literally go on, click the button, click on the guaranteed issue, but the maximum they're going to be able to get is 10,000. Now, 3-year graded. AIG is a 2-year graded plan. Difference is the first year they're going to get return of premium plus 5. Not to confuse anyone, but AIG is going to give you 10. In the second year, they're going to give you a return of premium plus 10. AIG does that as well. In the third year, they're going to give you 75% of the face amount. With AIG, they get 100. And then the fourth year, you're going to get 100. So if you run into a guaranteed issue situation, you should probably go AIG. It's probably going to be cheaper, or Great Western, and the coverage is going to be better. And you can go up to
real quick.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I was told like we don't go with this product right here. Just always pivot to AIG, and the AIG you said it's 10% the first year. Now the second year I thought it jumps to 20%. Is that wrong?
That might be per state. Usually it's just 10%. Okay. Usually it's just 10% across the board in most states. Okay. I don't want to give you you can call AIG. I don't want to give you an incorrect. Yeah, most states it's 10%. First year, second year, after the second year. Here's another little pro tip for you guys with AIG, because I guess I don't want to say it's unfortunate. It's great to have that product for people that need it. Keep in mind, if they pass away for any reason, let me take that step back. If they pass away in an accident, even 1 day into having that coverage, even though it's graded, they get the full benefit. So here's a scenario. Somebody purchases a $25,000 plan. They are actively in chemo treatment, but it's stage 1, so they're not getting any terrible prognosis. They're going to live, but they're going to be fighting cancer, right? So AIG is all they're going to qualify for, or Great Western. You put them with an AIG plan, $25,000. And what's the best scenario for that? $25,000 plan, and they pass away in an accident, their family's going to get the full 25,000. Make sense?
Fantastic.
Okay, perfect. There's 1,000 reasons why AIG is better than the Eagle Guaranteed. And I still, even earlier this week, I talked to somebody, they got declined, and it was something very simple. If somebody would have just looked at the grid, they would have seen it. They applied for Premier, they got declined. It came up and said that this person could get the Eagle Guaranteed. I said I'd probably go with AIG, and the reason I said that was because of this, and they could get more coverage, not just 10,000 up to 25. And they went ahead and put them with the Eagle Guaranteed.
Quick question.
So, yes, sir.
Oh, they still did Eagle.
Yeah.
Tough. Yeah, the AIG product is phenomenal.
Yeah, it is.
But you said earlier, you said that it pays different. It pays the agent different. I
yes.
think you mentioned that when you first.
Yes.
How is that? How's it different?
Great question. So let me go here. Blah, blah, blah. Let me see. Commission. Give me half a second here. Got me compensation. Okay. So let me give you this scenario. Was that Chosen that asked the question? Oh God, did I lose you guys again?
Yeah, no, it was me. I did a thumbs up. Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. So let me give you a scenario. Let's just stick with the 100% commission. Okay, we'll keep this simple. And if this confuses you, Chosen, I'll type it out on the screen because this can get a little bit weird. So with AIG, let's say you're in the 100% commission grid. Well, you can see if you go to AIG, you see it says 50, right? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just say that you went out and you helped Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Smith paying $83 a month. So we're going to call that $1,000 a year in annualized premium. If I say anything weird or you don't understand, just tell me to back up. That $1,000 of annualized premium, they're going to do the same thing that America would do. They're going to take that premium times your commission amount, which is if you're at 100%, is going to be 50%. So that's $500 commission. Anybody have any arguments or disagreements there? All right. They're going to take that $500, but your advance with AIG is 50%. With all other carriers, except for AIG and Great Western, you're going to be 75% advance. This is 50% advance. So your commission was 500. Your advance is 50. That means you're going to get paid $250 commission. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then here's what happens. That other $250, because they're paying you a 6-month advance, in month 7, you will get a part of that $250. In month 8, you'll get a part. Month 9, you'll get a part. Month 10, you'll get a part. Month 11, you'll get a part. All the way up to month 12. In month 13, you'll get paid your renewal. Here's the cool part about AIG. AIG is a whole life product, guaranteed issue, whole life. So if you see GWL or GIWL, that's what that means. Guaranteed issue whole life or guaranteed whole life. So your residual actually will start in 6 months. And then every month after that, every time you write a product, every single month, your residual just gets bigger and bigger and bigger with AIG, just like it will with the other carriers. So if you ever think about quitting, this is where your mind should go. Because if you do it for a year, your residual will start, man, it'll start to be really nice. Just so you guys know this as well, hopefully you guys know this, you only make renewal, if you will, on whole life policies.
Right. Hey, Corey, quick question.
Yes, sir.
On this grid here, the Americo, they just list 2 products. Do those figures apply for, is that basically term and final expense, like the HMS 125? Is that the same for all the CBO products and everything?
Great question. So here's what we covered at the training, you guys, and that's why I cover this stuff over and over. Awesome question, Paul. So let me give you a quick example. You guys see my screen still, and you see the green arrow?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let me give you guys a couple scenarios here. Here's the first one. You write a CBO 100 and you do a 25-year term. The first question I'm going to ask you, is there any renewal on this product?
No.
Can anybody tell me why there's no renewal?
It's term.
Very good. Now, here's the other part. If you write a 25-year CBO on somebody and they're between the ages of 20 and 55, the max comp is 110. So you'll get paid a maximum of 110 regardless of where your comp is, because that's the max they pay. Okay. You can request a schedule of commissions from every single carrier. I don't know if they're, I think they used to have to send them out once a year. I don't think that's the case anymore, but every single company has them. Mutual of Omaha, and they have to, it's legal. They legally have to have them. So if you call and say, hey, can you guys send me a schedule of benefits or a schedule of commissions? They'll send them out. If they make any changes to during the year, they'll send out an addendum, which you'll have that. Now, same scenario. Let's say somebody got a 30-year, okay? And this is all just, Paul, I know you all get this because you're a numbers guy, especially by trade. So here's another scenario to the left of that. Somebody purchases, a 30-year CBO. They're between the ages of 20 and 55. The max comp is going to be 115. Each plan, and this video, what I'm talking about here, guys, is actually a video that we have on our YouTube page where I break each one of these down in each one of these scenarios, etc., including AIG. Now, let's go up to third one from the top, term 125. So if somebody's doing a term 125, and it's between a 20 and 30 year, you can see the max is 115. 15 year, you can see it's 100%. Nobody's saying anything, so I'm guessing your silence is acceptance. I got this question yesterday as well. I'm gonna flip back. If you guys need me to go back to that, I will. I'm happy to do it. Let me go back here. I'm gonna pull something up here really quickly. I don't know why this gets people, but it does. The only difference, did I go right back to the same place? I apologize, you guys. Bear with me for 1 second. I don't want to whack you guys' eyes out. I think I went back to final expense again. Term. Here we go. All right, last time, just let me get to page 9 here really quick. Okay. Guys, the only difference between the term 100 and the term 125 is an accidental death benefit. That is it. And most of the time, it's only a few bucks. And when they need it most, their family's going to wish they had it. So if I never quote the 100 unless I'm in a spot where it is truly, I have you price, because I try not to sell in price ever, but it's the only spot and the only thing that we have, because that term 100 is just a bare bones standard, life insurance program. But the perks of it is it does still have the living benefits, the critical, the chronic, and the terminal. Hopefully you guys remember what those are. And they're included at no additional premium. Now, here's the deal. Again, I'm going to say it again. The only difference between the term 100 and the term 125 is an accidental death benefit. It says it right here on the screen. HMS 125 includes an additional 25% of the base death benefit if they pass away in an accident. No accidental death coverage for HMS 100 unless you add a rider. Does that confuse anyone? Okay, so now I'm going to give you a scenario. Very simple scenario. Person purchases a $100,000 plan, HMS 100. They pass away in an auto accident, and they did not add the accident rider. How much money do they get? Their family.
$100,000.
Very good, Paul. Now, exact same scenario, exact same, except Mr. Smith purchased or invested in the HMS 125. He has a $100,000 benefit. Mr. Smith passes away in an auto accident. How much coverage how much money would his family get?
125,000.
You knocked it out. That's exactly right. Is there any confusion between the term 100 or term 125? Perfect. I get this question 3 or 4 times a week. That's the only difference between those programs. And yes, they both have living benefits. Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you say that it's almost silly not to write the 125?
If you did
a little bit more.
Yeah, if you did the, well, I don't want to really fully do this, but I'm just going to do this here for just a second. And I knew that was going to lock up like that. Okay, we're just going to do this. We're going to do 100. We're going to keep all things equal. 20-year-old male, $25,000 coverage, non-smoker. I'm going to hit run. And it's, let's just say it's $13 for the 30-year. It's $13.09, right? Everybody see that? Agree with that? I'm going to come back out. I'm going to hit new. I'm going to stay in Alabama, except now I'm going to do the term 125. The 30-year was $13.09. Same parameters, 20-year-old male, non-smoker, 25,000. For the term 125, it's $13.75.
Now, hey, Corey, when you get into bigger dollar amounts though, like I ran the 4 scenarios for a gentleman the other day, 42 years old, 250,000. And I just broke it down, and the CBO 100 was, $222 a month, CBO 50, 182 a month, term 125, 153 a month, and the term 100 was 135. So, someone's worried about $18 difference there, then they might go for the term 100.
That's exactly right.
In the bigger dollar amounts.
That's right. So I just did a 45-year-old male, 30 years, $92.34, excuse me, for a term 100. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to change this to the 125, 45. I think I use 45 male, 200,000, same scenario. Yeah, there's a jump there. But again, 25% more benefit when they pass away. So it's easier to, you can't sell up, right? If you're doing top-down selling, you're going to start with the 125 and work your way down. Just depends on how you want to position it. Great question, Nick. And thank you, Paul.
Hey, by the way, let me point some out. There was I assume everybody got it. If you're on that Americo email thread or whatever, they sent out a really nice, I forget, about 8 or 10 minute video just this past week that really breaks down the CBO 100, CBO 50, and then they talk about they compare it to the term 125. And I actually printed several screenshots from it and put it on a poster board. It was really helpful. If you guys haven't reviewed that, I would suggest doing it because it is really good information.
Thank you, Paul. And guys, I highly recommend taking some time. They have tons of times available. I know Mutual of Omaha does some trainings. AMAM, it's constantly, they do them every single week. If you go into and if it wouldn't take 15 years for it to come up, I'd actually pull it up. But if you go into your Americo, if you go into Americo in your dashboard, on the left-hand side, they have all of their classes and stuff like that you can sign up for just different products and that kind of stuff. So it's just in your portal with Americo. Chosen, the comp grid is right here on our site. not picking you out. You were just talking about asking me about AIG and how it's covered commission wise. The comp grid's on here, just all kinds of other stuff. We have the credibility form on here. So the sheet, your in-home form, one of them anyway. There's tons of them out there, whatever one you feel comfortable with. And then there's the final expense and term grids. I'm going to go over two more really quick things, and then I'm going to open it back up to you guys. As you guys are getting your agent codes in, because I know we have a lot of new people and you guys are applying for covered or applying for carriers, which is awesome. I can see all that stuff behind the scenes, which is cool. Please make sure you are taking those carriers and putting your writing numbers and stuff in HCMS. I know you guys reach out to Amy and copy me on it, and we're happy to help you, but it is very simple for you guys to do that as well. And it does get confusing. We completely understand that, because some carriers you can't put in the system, like Prosperity. A theme doesn't even go into HMS. You just need to keep your writing number and all that. It's just, some of it's weird. We get it. But there's videos out here for you guys to take a look at. Some of these videos are 45 seconds. Some are 30 seconds, those kind of things, just to kind of help yourself out. I know most people aren't going to watch this stuff. They're kind of, older videos, but the video with Danielle and Jasmine, they kind of go through the whole process from top to bottom, especially if you're somebody that's going to recruit or wanting to build a team. It's probably a good investment of time to go through that. But we just want to make sure that you have these resources out here to go through as well. So hopefully that helps. Product training guides. Again, all the stuff I'm referring to now is on the FFL Genesis site. If there's additional information or content, we don't want to overcrowd the site. I think there's a lot out here anyway. But if there's things that you guys need, we wanted you to be able to go to one click and have at least, 85, 90% of what you're going to need when you're in the home or in the field on a daily basis. We tried to put all that information out here. Business cards. I get that one probably once a week. Family First Life Apparel. You guys should see that top center of the page. If you click there, and you guys are independent contractors, if you have a cousin, uncle, brother, sister that has a printing company, knock yourself out. You're representing yourself. You can do that. But here's business cards. I'm simply going to there's 7 different options of business cards. And they come pretty quickly. I have somebody that I use out of Kansas City that does stuff with the Chiefs and the Royals. So my little stuff that I do is not very expensive, and she does a great job, or their company does a great job, I should say. But business cards, name tags, apparel, all that kind of stuff is out here as well. I know winter's coming for most of us here in the Midwest. If you're thinking about ordering one of these jackets, I would do it quick, because they order the jacket and then they sew the logo and stuff on there. So it could take up to the jacket I ordered last year. I think it took like 5 weeks before I got it, just so you guys know that. So just wanted to let you guys know where those additional resources are. Since we were talking about the quoting with Americo, I know Nick and I have talked about this excessively. When you run the quote, I highly, highly, highly recommend, I don't know why this system does it, it just does. When you run the quote, I would run that quote and hit design and run that quote 2 or 3 times and make sure that the number you get is accurate. If it looks too low, it probably is. I'll just leave that where it's at. But I always run my rates. I always do it 2 or 3 times, because it's just a click of a button to make sure that that the rates that I'm getting are accurate. All right. Any other questions there? I wanted to cover one last thing, and if you guys want me to go through the application, I can. I know we talked about AIG. We have that video out there as well. Aetna, just so you guys know very quickly. Anybody have any more questions? I still have you guys, correct?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. That always freaks me out when you get that quiet. So I wanted to point out something on Aetna. For those of you guys that have Aetna or getting ready to get it, we are the only IMO in the entire country that has access to Aetna CVS life insurance. It's basically like they created it for us, which is pretty cool. Everybody knows CVS and everybody knows Aetna. So I think CVS purchased Aetna, but the names are so powerful, they just call themselves Aetna CVS. So here's a cool thing about this. Once you kind of get your login numbers and that kind of stuff and get set up, a pro tip here: if you haven't gone into Aetna site, The first time you come out here, and at least it did this on my iPad. It might be different for you if you're using a laptop or Android, but the screen is almost shifted over to the left. So if that does happen to you, just call them, call Aetna, and they'll tell you what to do to make the fix. I thought it was something wrong with my iPad. I screwed around with it for way too long, and I finally called, and it took 2 minutes, and they fixed it. So I'm a little irritated with myself, but so here's the cool part about Aetna. Aetna has what's called their sandbox. The sandbox operates exactly like their application. So it gives you an opportunity to come out and practice the applications. So I'm going to click on sandbox. And then what comes up is exactly what you would do on the Aetna application. Now, Aetna's application is really cool. It's really smooth. It's really simple. I actually like the application a whole lot, actually. So let me flip back. So I'm going to show you guys something here really quickly. Hopefully I'm not freaking you guys' eyeballs out, but I'm going to go to the final expense grid, and I'm going to go down to page 9. And actually, I think it's on page 11, I think, 12. So Aetna goes up to age 89. They're the only carrier we have that goes up that high. It goes up to 50,000, but depends upon how old the person is, depends upon how much coverage they can get. Okay. When I'm working on Aetna, or I'm helping somebody out with Aetna, I always start with standard. Even if they have fantastic health, I always start with standard, because as you're asking the question, answering the questions on the application, it'll tell you if they're preferred or not. As you're going through the app, it will literally flip and say this person qualifies for preferred rates based off of the information and how they've answered the questions. Now, remember the 5'11", 310-pound guy earlier? If that gentleman would have been over the age of 40 and he was looking for $50,000 or less, they don't even ask height and weight questions. Another pro tip here for Aetna, Aetna is great with COPD. So I definitely write that down, because here in the Midwest, you're definitely going to run into COPD. So keep in mind, they start at age 40, which is huge. No height and weight. They go up to 89, and they can go up to $50,000 worth of coverage. Here's another little pro tip. If somebody has Aetna Medicare supplement, they'll get 10% off of their life insurance rate. Now, I do not, full disclosure, I do not know how to do that. I don't know if you have to call them or just put their numbers in or not. I'm not sure how that works. Any questions there? And all this information is inside the grid.
And it's all whole life, right? Aetna's all whole life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep. So I'm going to show you guys two really quick. I'm not going to go through the full application, but if you have Aetna, again, just go into the sandbox, and you'll know you're in the sandbox because it's going to tell you sandbox. Otherwise, you're in the live app. This functions exactly like the real application. It looks exactly like the real application. The only thing you won't be able to do on the last page of the app is it just won't let you submit it. That's it. So I'm going to use my zip code here. Paul, I think we're not too far away from each other. And I'm going to say 07/16/1975, because that makes that person over 40. And we're going to say effective date is 10/09/2021. We're going to say it's a male, and we're going to say he's non-smoker. Now, when I hit view products, you're going to see almost everything that Aetna offers. I'm going to shore all this up for you guys. The only program that we offer with Aetna CVS is Ascendo. Now, I'm going to add one little giant, I know I said little, one giant asterisk to this, because I know I'm going to get this question. Yes, you can sell dental. Yes, you can sell vision. Yes, you can sell hearing. Yes, you can sell cancer. Yes, you can sell heart attack and stroke. Yes, you can. Here's the deal, though. It is a well, if you have your health license, it's a separate division, so you have to go through the licensing process, okay? Not complicated. If you want that, just let Amy and I know via Slack. We can help you get set up with it. But we don't want you guys just getting all these carriers and not writing any business. That doesn't make any sense either. Waste of time. Now, not to confuse you, because I get this question probably once or twice a month. Right at the top there under eligible products, you're going to see MedSup. You're also going to see Protection Series Final Expense. We do not offer that product. We don't offer it. So the only one that you're going to use is Final Expense Ascendo. That's the program that we're allowed or we're set up to offer. Final Expense Ascendo. I'm going to hit the purple plus, and now the application is going to get started. So it knows what age this person is. Mr. Smith is 46, so he's over the age of 40, so he qualifies. Remember, it said we could go up to 50,000. I'm going to put 60,000 in just to show you guys something. I'm going to put 60,000 in. I'm going to hit quote, and it's going to tell me enter a valid benefit amount ranging from 2,000 up to 50,000 in $1,000 increments. That's a lot to say at one time. So because he's 46, I'm going to put 50K in. He should be just fine. You have to select what level of what level plan that they're going to get. I never, ever, ever tell anybody preferred, ever. I always do standard, because if they get preferred, I'm going to congratulate them. We're going to move forward from there. You have to add to cart. And the reason I'm going through this, because some of these things are just tiny little things that if you miss it, you're going to be stumbling around going, I'm not sure where to go. Now, another thing, just a really quick tip right here. I'm going to scroll right up to the top edge of the page where it says product brochure. Some of you guys are product junkies and you have to know everything about the product. There's a product brochure. So you can click on it, go through it, print it off, whatever, to save it to your electronic device, read through it. Now that we've got the $50,000 and we've clicked on standard, I'm going to click quote, and it's going to pull up the numbers for the quote. And we can see the standard is 164.06. Now, if I come up here and click and start enrollment, it's not going to do anything because I haven't told it what to do yet. This is one of those little things that I was talking about. I'm going to click start enrollment, and it's going to give you an error. And you're going to be like, I don't understand what this means. I put the rate in there and everything else. You have to add it to cart. Add to cart. And once I add to cart, it's going to give you some additional options. We're going to add the accelerated death benefit because it doesn't cost anything. Add to cart. Premium is 164.06. You see the payment mode there. I'm going to hit start enrollment, and then it's going to open up a screen. Sorry, guys. For their name.
Real quick.
Yes. Yep.
It was showing a lower dollar amount for preferred level.
Well, that's what I was saying a few minutes ago. I never, ever, ever, ever give them the preferred rate because I don't know if they're going to get it.
But
Now,
does that, because they're
Go ahead.
showing that now, does that mean that they did qualify for the preferred? So you'd flip to the preferred?
No, I always show standard. And here, the reason I always show standard, think about this, Paul. I tell you, you're going to get, oh man, looks like you qualify for preferred. Have we asked him any health questions yet?
Oh, because we haven't qualified them yet. Health.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Okay.
So I never show them. I never show them preferred. I tell them the standard rate's 164.06. We kind of go back and forth through that. Because here's the deal, Paul, as you're going through the application because of their age, they could get super preferred. I bet you probably less than 10% of people get it, but they could get it.
So this is just showing if they would qualify for preferred, that would be the rate.
That's exactly right. Now, if I wanted to get froggy and click at, watch, all I got to do is touch it. Preferred. I'm telling you guys, I'm begging you, please don't give them the preferred or the super preferred rate. Because if you're going through and there's a question you didn't ask, and then they tell you later on about the health and you just told them the preferred rate was 140 and there's something they didn't tell you and then it goes preferred, you got to have a $24 conversation you don't want to have. Does that make sense?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. I always go standard
Real quick.
and then let the application do the work. So if you guys practice, I'm going to show you two more things and let you guys go unless you got more questions.
I got a quick question real quick.
Yeah, go ahead,
Sorry.
Chosen. No, you're good.
The standard level plan, because once you click that preferred, the price for the accidental death benefit rider went away. So what do you know, just real quick, what the accidental death benefit would be? Is it like 25%?
Only reason it didn't change, Chosen, because I hadn't run the quote yet. Look at it now.
Oh, okay. So it's still there. Okay. So do you know what that benefit would be?
It's just an accidental death benefit. It's going to be, if they died in an accident, their death benefit would double.
Double. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Just like anybody else's accident plan. Because it's just a rider. Most riders are just going to double the benefit. Does that help?
Yeah.
So let me, no problem. So watch, I'm going to click standard watch what happens. See the accidental death benefit? It disappeared like before. And that's what I was saying a minute ago about those little things. Like if you don't hit quote, you're going to go over here, you're going to hit start enrollment, and it's going to start the enrollment, but you actually didn't run the quote if the rate's different. So I'm going to go ahead and run the quote. Oops. I'm going to hit quote. It's going to do its thing. And this application is really quick too. I'm going to add it to cart. I'm going to go ahead and add the accelerated death benefit because it doesn't cost anything. And we're going to click start enrollment. It's going to ask me for the name. So I'm going to say Test Smith. And yes, they're a US legal resident, start enrollment. And then you're going to get these boxes across the top of the screen. Now, I'm going to give you guys a pro tip. I don't know why people do this. When people fill out Aetna applications a couple times a month, I get a phone call and the person says, I'm not sure what's going on with the application. It won't submit through. I don't know why people do this, but they skip through the application. I don't know why they do it. And it's right in front of you. So watch this. I'm going to click on agent information and it's going to allow me to do that. But you see how the plan eligibility on the far left-hand side, it kind of did a half bubble and put a red, kind of a red thumbtack, if you will, in the right left-hand corner. It's because all the information is not completed. So if I go back and hit plan eligibility, it's giving you freedom to flow through the application. And this application doesn't lock like some of the other companies. But Paul, to answer your question, as you're going through this application, if you start asking questions as you're going through, and it likes the question, how you're answering the questions, you're saying no to stuff, it will literally flip. The application will flip and tell you that this person is eligible. It'll go from preferred or from standard to preferred. It'll do it on its own.
Gotcha.
Yep. Here's another quick deal. And then I'm going to let you guys spin here because I had an interview in 4 minutes as well. You see this check eligibility here in the corner? This is one of those sneaky little things that's minor. It ends up being a big deal when you're sitting there talking to somebody and I've done it. Scroll right past it. So I'm going to go and say no to all these questions. No, no, no. We're not doing any of that stuff. No, no, no. And you're going to get to the bottom of the screen and be going, wait a minute, I answered all the health questions. I answered everything. Why can't I go to the next page? Why is it blocked out? I'm going to click check eligibility. And what the application disc did is it adjusted itself based on the question, the way we answered the questions. Now, this is where once you start going through the application, this is where you see now we have a separate set of questions now. It's asking if we want to do the children term rider. I'm going to say no to those. And when I click no, it's just going to start going back into the application again, right? I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And now you can see the bubble has filled in and now it's purple. It's not red anymore. But now I got all those other little red check marks because I skipped through the application before as opposed to completing each step of this. Pretty cool, right? Next. And then it's going to take me through the next part of the application. Now, this is what I wanted to show you guys before I let you go. Paul, you remember what the premium was when we started?
Well, it was 164.
Now, what is it?
The 140, given the
See
preferred.
what happened? That's exactly right. Based on how we answered the health questions, it went from 164 to 140. The application will do it on its own based on the way you answer the questions. Pretty simple application. So just kind of let the application, like playing golf, let the driver do its job, let the wedge do its job, right? Let the club do what it's supposed to do. But I'm telling you, if you skip forward and you go, well, they told me that they didn't have any health conditions, so I'm going to go ahead and tell them the super preferred rate because I think that's what they're going to get, which is $125 a month. And then they end up having to pay $164. Now you have to have a $40 conversation. And I would say to you, my good friend, good luck. Because they're going to want the 125 and you're going to have to tell them why they can't get it. And then they're going to tell you they have to think about it.
Right.
We've all been there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop this. I think I ran everybody else off except for you guys. So any questions,
so you could
guys?
even build it up you could even build it up. Still like keep that 164 and say, hey, You were supposed to get the 164, but it looks like, just to make them feel like, oh, I'm winning, that winning mindset.
And that's exactly right. What I would do, Paul, I know you've done this a million times. The standard rate is 164.06. That fits your budget. They say yes. You start going through the stuff. You click the buttons on the health. They say no to everything. And then at the end, you can say, look, congratulations, we got you qualified based on your good health. You're going to be saving that instead of being 164, it's 140 a month. Now you really got them. They were okay with paying 164.
Yeah, you talk about solidifying the sale, right?
That's right. Lock it down. That's exactly right.
A quick question, Corey.
Sure.
The CBO cashback option.
Yes, sir.
So I know they have to apply for that to get the cash back, like within 60 days of that term completing, right? Something like that, or 30 or 60 days.
Say that one more time.
So when they say cashback option, like as opposed to restrict, what I'm familiar with, return a premium. So what's the option there that they can get it back? They don't have to get it back. They have to apply for it.
That's a great question. How I understand that, Paul, because I don't want to give you the wrong answer, is yes, they could leave it in place. They could absolutely leave it in place.
Leave what in place? The policy?
Leave their plan. Yes. I've been told that. I don't know if that's true, but here's the deal. Most people, if you're doing the CBO and you're doing those higher dollar amounts, they're getting it because they want to get their money back, right? Or they're going to want to pay their mortgage off 5 years faster. So most people, when they do that, they're either going to say, yes, give me my money back, or they're going to take that money out, pay their mortgage off 5 years faster, save all that interest and everything else. And usually they have a couple bucks left over.
And we need to clarify this for sure, because it's a pretty big deal, but they also have an option to leave the policy in place and not get the cash back. And then it just becomes a whole life type of thing.
I've been told that. I don't know if that to be true. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one because,
but I would bet you there's always going to be some weird outlier, right? I bet you 95% of people are going to wait. I got 76 grand coming back, and I'm still, give me my money.
Right.
But yeah,
okay.
A good question that needs to be asked. I'll try to invest some time into finding that out because it is an important question. But we make the assumption that most people are going to take their money. I would,
right?
Because it's just, it's a win-win-win. Like it's a forced savings account, right? If you pass away, your family's good. If you don't, you get the money back. It's free. It's free money. Really.
Right. Or free coverage.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Both. And you're never going to pay into it what you get out. So you always come out ahead. Your family always comes out ahead. Good stuff. Anything else, guys? Well, thanks for suffering through this for an hour and a half. If there's any questions I can ask of you guys or that you can ask of me, just Slack me. I know a couple of you guys email me. I'll get that taken care of here. And if you need anything, let me know.
Sounds good. Thank you, Corey.
Anytime, guys. Bye for now.